Donald Trump gives California 2 ultimatums for wildfire aid. President Donald Trump on Thursday stated 2 conditions that he would need to see before agreeing to release federal aid to wildfire-devastated California. Newsweek reached out to the White House for comment by email on Friday. The context: California has suffered historic damage from wildfires that started around Los Angeles County and recently spread to Ventura in San Diego. The fires around Los Angeles destroyed just over 40,000 acres, with the bulk of the damage caused by the Palisades Fire and the Eden Fire, both of which are now largely but not yet fully contained. Republicans first floated the idea of conditional disaster relief earlier this month, angering California officials and creating division in the party over what some perceived as inconsistency about policies surrounding a very sensitive topic. House Speaker Mike Johnson of Louisiana first floated the idea, saying that lawmakers needed to have a serious conversation about that, blaming California policies for exacerbating the widespread damage of the wildfires. Republican Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina, whose state was hit with catastrophic flooding after Hurricane Helene last year, argued that the government had to be consistent on disaster supplement, period. Trump on Friday morning landed in North Carolina to tour the areas devastated by Hurricane Helene in September 2024. Before leaving the tarmac where Air Force One had landed, Trump told reporters that he had 2 conditions for California to receive federal disaster relief: new voter identification ID laws and changes to water policy. Trump reiterated his demands during a press conference in Fletcher, North Carolina, saying, "In California, I have a condition. In California, we want them to have voter ID, so the people have a voice, because right now the people don't have a voice because you don't know who's voting. It's very corrupt. And we also want them to release the water. If they released the water, they wouldn't have had a problem. If they released the water when I told them to, because I told them to do it 7 years ago, if they would have done it, you wouldn't have had the problem that you had. You might not have even had a fire." Trump's earlier comments included some ideas for additional election reform he would like to see in California, including proof of citizenship and ideally same-day voting, but he stressed that he would only name voter ID as the chief condition. Trump's insistence on water policy changes follows his weeks of pressing claims about the state's water policies that California Governor Gavin Newsom has refuted on numerous occasions. Primarily, Trump has claimed that Newsom refused to sign the Water Restoration Declaration, which would have allowed millions of gallons of water, from excess rain and snow melt from the north, to flow daily into many parts of California. Newsom's office has said that no such declaration exists. There is no such document as the Water Restoration Declaration. That is pure fiction. The governor is focused on protecting people, not playing politics, and making sure firefighters have all the resources they need. Newsom on Thursday posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, that the state will provide $2.5 billion in relief in support of Los Angeles, highlighting the fact that the spending was passed with unanimous bipartisan support in the state legislature. "No conditions. No strings attached," Newsom wrote, adding that he hopes Congress and Donald Trump will do the same. The state's relief includes evacuation, sheltering survivors, and removing household hazardous waste. Lawmakers also approved $4 million for local government to speed up the process for rebuilding homes and $1 million to support school districts, according to the Associated Press. Tara Gallegos, Deputy Director of Communications for the Office of Governor Newsom, told Newsweek in an email that the president's claims are misinformation and stressed conditioning aid for American citizens is wrong. Most of Southern California's water does not come from Northern California. In fact, Southern California gets a third of its water from Northern California, a third from the Colorado River, a third from local sources. Moving more water from Northern California would not have affected the fire response. Water operations in the Delta have nothing to do with the local fire response in Los Angeles. Trump is either unaware of how water is stored in California or is deliberately misleading the public. His statements have been repeatedly fact-checked and debunked. There is no imaginary spigot to magically make water appear at a wildfire, despite what Trump claims. Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming last week told Fox Business host Larry Kudlow, "It is heartbreaking what we're seeing happening right now in California, and we have our Wyoming National Guard helping out there. But if there's going to help from the federal government, you're absolutely right. There has to be accountability for that money. It cannot be a blank check. What we've seen, And even the fire chief of LA County has said that they were let down by the mayor, the elected officials. I mean, gross negligence at the state and local level, where the fire department had $17 million taken away from their budget, and they were already stretched too thin. And they used the money for social programs. Trump is set to visit Los Angeles after he wraps up his North Carolina visit on Friday. He will receive a briefing on recovery efforts, as he did in North Carolina, and make comments in which he will likely repeat his conditions for California to receive relief aid.